Okay, guys. Hi, good afternoon. I'm going to discuss about the turtle soup, a field breakdown. Today's May 13, 2022. Let's begin. So a trading strategy called the turtle soup. The turtle soup strategy was developed by Linda Bradford Rashke. She published this strategy in her book, Street Smarts, High Probability Short-Term Trading Strategies. It is basically a short-term trading method that has, the implication is that they would buy all the failed breakdowns. So a breakdown is when a level of stocks was previously a support and then breaks down. Due to the nature of the very low percentage of winning trades on a trend following strategy, i.e. when the markets are going down, that it keeps on going down, the trend following strategy works around 40%. However, even if it is a 40% winning percentage, because trend following strategies usually result to huge returns, a lot of people are most of the time trend followers. If the market is uptrend, they just are up, they just buy. If the market is downtrend, they just sell. The turtle soup strategy, however, is the contra trend, okay? Which is basically what the turtle soup strategy means is that when you break down, you could actually hit a 5-period low. Or, well, she's using a 30-minute period in her study because she's using forex pairs. But the point is that this has a higher percentage ratio to win the turtle soup strategy in a very short-term time frame. But it can only work for the short-term traders. So why are we using the turtle soup strategy? It works when it only works with very extreme fear. So last few days, we've seen the 5-day average put call ratio at an extreme fear level of close to 1. This is 0.98. When you say 1, it means that 98% of people own puts versus calls. So that is a very, very high put call ratio. When you can see that the normal would be around 70% or 0.7 or 0.6 or even 0.5. So this has become the extreme fear May 12 last night. In that extreme fear, we saw 30,000, which was a very known support level for Bitcoin. This breakdown recently to about 25,600, in our view, is a classic pattern made with the turtle soup strategy. For those who really want to learn more about the turtle soup strategy, you have to understand that this the turtle soup strategy is a turtle trading system. There is a wide number of traders in the world who have been purchasing stocks during breakouts and then they sell it on a retracement. Yeah, because this has been the most famous trend following strategies. If it's being used by so many people, you can actually profit on the other side. If you want to understand, you can just learn more about that. But to give you an example, what a turtle soup moves are in action. So a turtle soup is a failed breakdown. You can see that for instance here, let's open the Bitcoin chart here. We can see that for the last how many months, January 2021, July 2021, even on the recent drop of 30,000, before it breaks down, a lot of people are already anticipating with the, if you are a turtle follower, a turtle trend follower, a turtle follower usually will think that because the 30K gets broken down, it will lead to a breakdown towards 20,000 or 12,000 because they can see that just like this one, take note that the previous support here of 45,000, 45,000, 45,000, 45,000. When it got broken down, you can see that when the breakdown happened here at about 45,000, it quickly collapsed to about 33. And you can see that for the last few months, Bitcoin actually traded still with a resistance of 45,000. Why do you think that magical number of 45,000 has always stayed there as a resistance? Because these have become, charts are very much fulfilling numbers. The people who bought above 45K wants to exit at 45K, and the people who are seeing that will also sell at 45K, fulfilling that prophecy. Now, at the same time, a lot of people who sold at 45K are all looking to cover at 30,000. So the turtle soup strategy is turning the trade under its own head, no? So in Filipino language, they call it na ginawa mong sabaw yung turtle, because turtle is maraming breakout traders. They would usually sell down the moment that they see that this $30,000 broke down. Just like this one, this was a turtle trade. 40,000 here, every time that it broke down, people know na, if you break 40K or 38K, sure, bababa yon. That the trend will follow. Kasi nga, trend following eh. Trend following strategies generally work. As we know, it generally works naman. But there is a time that a trend following strategy will not work. Because you can see this is a very huge downtrend. There was a breakdown. Why then did it go up? When you see a failed breakdown, it only occurs when a lot of people are already betting on further downside, which was really the extremes that happened today. And so we can see this turtle soup failed breakdown pattern. Let's read through the turtle soup strategies, because this is an evidence-based mamaya natin pag-usapan yan. This is an evidence-based trading strategy. So let's read through the strategy in detail. The turtle soup will not react to all signals. We already know that. What they usually do is they will still use a stop loss. So their stop is the fixed stop calculated as 3 times the 20-period average true range. This stop is very far from the market price. Positions are closed when the market price reaches a 5-period high or a low. To be precise, a long position will be closed when the market price will hit a 5-period high. So basically, because she's using 30 minutes charts, when she says 5-period high, she's just using 5 times 30 minutes, because usually a lot of fake breakdowns and fake breakouts do happen in forex pairs. However, that doesn't, it isn't just forex pairs. A lot of traders worldwide with 15, 20 years of evidence have seen this pattern play out over and over and over again if they are pure chartist evidence-based traders. What this turtle soup pattern basically means is, okay, there was this big flush out at 30,000. That was the late bears, the Johnny come late bears, the one who tried to short at 30,000, and they have to cover. That was the vacuum. So on 1-day chart, that is also considered a dragonfly tail. So that was a failed breakdown, and then you go up. In forex terms or in trading terms, they are waiting for 5 days. So first day, second day. So at the very least, on average, 5 days yon. Although you will put a trading, you have to be very short term here. So their stops would be this one, 26K. And they're using average true range. So what does the average true range mean? Average true range is to check how large are the candlesticks on an average basis. You don't need to calculate yourself. There's a lot of indicators freely available to you. You just type in average true range. When you see the average true range here is 1.6 rising to 2.4, what they're saying is that, okay, Bitcoin will travel 2,000 points up or down every single day. That's on average. So sometimes there was a time that the average true range was as high as 5,000 during volatile times. And you can see actually just recently, the 25,000 to 30,000, so I'm going to close this already. The 25,000 to 30,000 move of Bitcoin actually happened as a three times ATR move. The normal range is just 2,000. 3 times ATR is 6,000. So it was a perfect, it was a very perfect textbook setup, because a lot of traders who are making a buy pattern at 30,000 would usually have a stop loss. If they follow their stop loss, which is 3 times the normal ATR, 3 times 2,000, their stop loss is 24,000. So this was really a stop hunt. Although hindi siya na-reach yung 24K, it was very close to that, mga 25,800 here. Although I surmise some traders would have gotten stopped out even way earlier if they weren't using their ATR patterns correctly. Either way, this was a classic turtle soup that I see. So kung normal range is 2,000, how do you expect this to move? So right now already, Bitcoin has already moved the average true range of its normal day. Kasi 28 is already 30K. So you expect Bitcoin to actually rally in the next 2 to 3 days, stick to 2,000. So about 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is 6,000. So on 30K, roughly, baka maka-travel si Bitcoin ng mga 36,000 in the next 2 days, 3 days, or 5 days. There will be, we're not sure if it will be consecutive up days, but because this failed breakdown is happening, we believe that everyone who shorted Bitcoin, somewhere here about 45K or 48K, and those who followed through and continued a short here at 40,000 would be tempted to cover. How high would they potentially cover? In the very short term, we think that Bitcoin can rally to 33,000, which forms our view that if Bitcoin can rally 33,000 at the very least to as high as 40,000, it stands to reason that you do have a trading pattern today. So I talked about this, a turtle soup. You then have a lot of trading patterns on the Bitcoin related stocks that could potentially rally bounce as wild as Bitcoin. So last hour we saw that Unusual Whales reported that 390,000 crypto traders were liquidated, totaling $1 billion, 1.25 billion. The other day they also reported something like 900,000 traders got killed. So I believe that these 900 and 400,000 crypto traders, these are the ones who tried to buy 30,000, but unfortunately their stop loss was either 27,000 or 28,000, or they bought 28K but they got stopped out at 26K. For whatsoever reason, whatever their trading style was, they got liquidated. The short answer is that all of those liquidations means that there is an empty vacuum for the longs who can then buy it up at a very small volume to trigger with very small volume to make a reversal up. Now that strategy has been normal as well for most traders who are familiar with that. They call it the poop and scoop strategy. I didn't invent this. This is a real strategy that other people do. Poop and scoop is called a small group of informed people attempting to drive down a stock price by spreading false information, rumors, otherwise damaging information, i.e. poop, in order to then buy the stock at a low price to scoop. If they're successful, they can purchase the stock at bargain prices as the overall marketplace will have sold off the security, causing the price to fall dramatically. When you break down a certain price, it will fall dramatically. Honestly, it could have gone 24,000, 23,000, 22,000. We don't really know because there's a vacuum of drops. And then that actually happened, not just with Bitcoin last night, but actually to many cryptocurrencies. And they capitalized the Luna fallout because the Luna was zero for 24 hours. That actually created the panic. So that, in my view, has become the flush out that was necessary to shake out all these longs. You can see that everyone who perhaps tried to go long here over the last 3 days got shaken out or got liquidated somewhere here. So this was the liquidation effect. If you have a liquidation effect or the poop and scoop strategy, then you now have a vacuum wherein all these sellers, all these previous potential sellers, the one who bought the 30,000 are gone. So the only sellers left would be either this 36,000 or 40,000, creating a vacuum wave for it to go to as high as 36,000, which is a 50% rally. So this is true not just for Bitcoin. We can see that happen with Binance. I'm going to talk about all the stocks that are performing the same movement. A very quick rally like a V shape here is really happens when you have a poop and scoop strategy or a turtle soup failed breakdown. It is a failed breakdown because, as I said here, look at this. This is Binance. It is very clear that the previous support was about $330. When the $330 broke, notice that there was a very huge candle here. This was the turtle trader who was still shorting at about 330 or 350. When he bought, if he didn't cover ASAP at 260, or if he wasn't awake last night, somewhere at about midnight in the Philippine time, or even around, I think it started moving as early as I think this was about 8 p.m. Sorry, this was, when did this happen? May 12, 7 a.m. So I was asleep. So I didn't see that flash crash. Yeah, I was asleep that time. But the May 12, yeah. So the point is that this huge drop from 300 to 200, which is a very huge drop, you can only see a quick reversal if that was a failed breakdown. So how do you treat all these failed breakdowns? You actually go with the short-term counter trend. Even if the downtrend is there, we are willing to buy because of the vacuum. So the vacuum of Binance can actually rally to about 350 or 360. Now, granted, you might say, 350, 360, that's just 15% gain or 20% gain. But this strategy has a high probability scenario. This is a 60% probability scenario. And if you notice where your stops would be, for other stocks, it will actually translate to a positive sentiment. So let's take a look at all the failed breakdown charts that we saw overnight. These are all turtle soup patterns. For those who are fond of mga trading terms or trading jargon, you can read about try to find the book Street Smarts by Linda Rashke. It's a literally very old book made by one of the best traders in the world, who understands market dynamics and evidence-based technical analysis by treating data as it is. They put the probability and then they act upon the probability. So yun, they know, and everyone kind of perhaps knows, that when a stock has gone oversold, eventually it has to bounce. So this is the bounce or the flush out that everyone was trying to wait for. I'm not sure if you remember, but they actually said that, Binance, I think it can go 200. I was surprised that it actually had a support at 206. Why did I say 200? Simply because usually then talaga, most companies have a support level near a round number. So for Binance, it was 200, and then the resistance would be somewhere 300 to 340. But if you manage to break that round number resistance, that would even trigger to as high as 400. So that is a very huge move, 200 to 400. If you can see crypto do that, what's the implication for most stocks? Of course, that means that most stocks would go up due to short covering or just due to that failed breakdown test. That means everyone who tried to short will now have to cover and then reverse. Either they bought puts, if they bought puts, they now have to sell puts. They have to close their positions. So this is happening even to the point that Ethereum can rally to about 2.4. If you calculate that, these are substantial rewards. Why am I talking about 2.4 to 2.6? Because that was the previous support that is now becoming a resistance. That's how important resistance lines are, and that's how powerful charts and lines are. Okay, so we were talking about that. So in our view, MicroStrategy from a very good short becomes one of the very best longs. You can see that MicroStrategy here, when Bitcoin was 45,000, we argued that 500 or 450 was still an equally great opportunity on the downside. And it happened. 450 not just fell to about 350, it even fell to 70 and even 170. If you call this a strange phenomenon, actually it's not, because MicroStrategy is a levered Bitcoin ETF product. If you are already bullish on Bitcoin, then it doesn't matter if you buy Bitcoin 30,000 or you buy MicroStrategy, which is, I think, in the pre-markets today, it's trading at 185. A lot of people are asking, am I late to buy MicroStrategy if I buy it at 185? And my answer would be wrong, that it's not late, except that as long as you buy a small size. Why is it not late? We actually think that the reward of MicroStrategy, even if you buy, of course, you would have been better off buying last night at about 170, or but even if you buy it at 185, as long as you're buying it within the zone of 170, 180, you don't even need to buy that very low 140, because that is luck for you to be able to buy at the super low. So let's just say you bought somewhere here at about 170 or 180 or even 190. I wouldn't even argue if you bought 190 tonight. I think it's trading pre-markets at 185. And my answer is that it is a buy, because when you compare the risk versus the reward of MicroStrategy can go as high as about 220, 240, or 270. And that is just filling the gap, because there was a gap down here from about 300 to 270. That was around May 9, when people were getting scared that Bitcoin was about to break below 30,000. So May 9, you can see Bitcoin dollar here. Bitcoin dollar was somewhere here 32,000. So even if Bitcoin just rallies to 32,000, that means that a 10% rally of Bitcoin can trigger MicroStrategy to go more than 20-30%. How much is 170 to 270? Actually, that is a very huge sum, right? It's 30%. So wait, let's consider your risk reward here. If your risk is that you open, sorry, ang pangit na yan. sige, ganito na lang. So yun. So you have to operate on the price range that even if you buy at 185, your reward could potentially be, sabihin na natin 240. That is still a 30% gain, and a clear gap would happen even as high as 270. Of course, I'm not saying na sure na 270 short na naman. It could be if Bitcoin really breaks below 33K na naman. But what if Bitcoin goes 40,000? Nako, if that happened, then MicroStrategy could potentially go to about 350, diba? So your reward could be somewhere from 20%, 30% to 90%. Because the risk is just, if I'm wrong, that was already the rally, okay, then you would still have to cut loss if you buy 185. Yes, it will be hurtful if I'm wrong that you will break and sell somewhere here about the average true range of MicroStrategy. How do you do that? So you just go to the daily, you use that. Usually the trading recommendation is to use 3 times the average true range for your stop loss. So the average true range is 40. So 3 times 40 is 120. Medyo mahirap mag-cut loss ng 180 minus 120, which is 60. Technically, parang new low yun, diba? So minsan, you cannot just use the typical 3 times 40 rule. What you could do is, all right, it's very clear that I would consider my trade wrong if it breaks down the previous low. The previous low of MicroStrategy was somewhere at about 140. So your stop would be 140. If you buy 185, your stop is 140, but the reward is very huge. Your reward is as big as $100, or I don't know how high, but the point is I can see that the reward is high. So even today, I'm still gonna buy MicroStrategy if it's 185. Okay, I'll give you another idea for the turtle soup strategies. So Ethereum is still gonna go up. Okay, let's talk about companies that aren't, this one is not a turtle soup, so I don't like to buy Netflix today. But I have to say that I just want to show to you interesting trading patterns. Netflix actually found support last night at about 166, 165, which might be the end of the carnage. We know that Netflix has been the start of the indicator for further gap downs because it shocked the market that there was, the very first loss of their company for at least almost 20 years in terms of quarterly additions. They became quarterly deletions. Because of that shock, the market was so surprised that it fell from about 360 all the way to about 250 and then closing to about 160. So that is an epic fall of about more than 50%. Well, while there is no technical rule to say that a 50% means a 50% drop is oversold, I do, however, have to point out that seeing Netflix supported here from a 2017 support of 165 and actually running to 174, I think that what is now happening is a healing process for Netflix. When you have a very nasty breakup, of course you have to heal, right? With traders, just like people, they need to console themselves, and that is the consolidation time. We can see that Netflix is consolidating, perhaps in just my honest highest probability base case, to consolidate from 160 to 200 for the next 3 months before the next earnings quarter. If it will happen, that means that the market can at least have a mean reversion. Let's talk about mean reversion here. I cited the SPY and the QQQ. The SPY and QQQ for non-technicians out there is a very important index because this represents where hundreds of billions of dollars worldwide are actually passively tied up or connected upon. There's been discussion of passive investing, the John Bogle funds, the Vanguard, and all of these. So they are all connected to the SPY. So let's discuss the SPY and the QQQ. Just last night, you can see that this is every day naman, SPY and the QQQ are always the most active trades. So you couldn't really argue about the volume. The volume is always big for the SPY and the QQQ. But what is important with what happened with the SPY, however, is what should interest all the traders in the world. You want to know that this one was a full breakdown of 400, another turtle soup pattern. Now, why do you think that 400 is a very important number? For most technicians in the world, round numbers are considered sacred. It's like 400 is a support or 400 is a resistance, just like the recent top, which was around 480, which was very near 500. You can notice that for most people, they don't remember the percentages. What they remember is, oh, I bought Bitcoin at 5,000 or I bought Bitcoin at 20,000 or 10,000 or 25,000 or 30,000 or 40,000, 50,000. People actually look at round numbers more. They remember round numbers. They don't really talk about, oh, I bought it at 451. They don't talk about that. They usually will be discussing round numbers as a rule, because as human beings, we like to remember things in round numbers. Because the people are the traders, these are not robots or algorithm. To trade better, the game has to be known wherein everyone has a stop loss quite near at that known support. You can see that near 400, this was a prior low around May 2021. And so some people here who thought that it would be the same repeat again, thought that 415 would be the support. But behold, of course, that breakdown happened. We think that this entire 415 all the way to about 380 is what you call, again, the failed breakdown. Another turtle soup. Turtle soup, failed breakdown. So a failed breakdown usually will correct itself in just a few days, 5 days. 5 days just by evidence. Although what people who trade turtle soup patterns would tell you, just put a 5-day moving average for your stop loss. So for those who are fond of just reading by the book, like a textbook, you can just put a 5-day. So the MA here is 9-day. You can make it 5-day. Just change that in the settings. Length of 5-day close. And then you will see where the stop loss of most people are. So it will turn up, and then when they are near the 5-day, other people will, if it breaks, no? So they are targeting that 5-day, which is 400, because they're just looking at a very short-term bounce, no? So it's a very short-term bounce, but nonetheless, it is still powerful. This one is from 380 to 400. That is the parang textbook, no? But if it can manage to break that 5 days, then you can see, potential for 15. I'm not saying that you will have a very strong, powerful rebound. It remains to be seen on whether a failed breakdown or a turtle soup can actually inspire a huge reversal to the upside. Fundamentally, I don't think that we have been over with the downtrend. I think that this is just a short-term reprieve. So I'll be very clear. This is a dead cat bounce. So be very fast. It could be just 2 days, 3 days, 5 days. I don't know how long. So you have to be watching the market for this short-term trading rebound, but nonetheless, it is quite powerful. So we have a buy move tonight for S&P 500. Some people bought last night, and then they might actually push this all the way from 380 to 415. That is a 10% rebound. That means that on average, an Apple, an Amazon, a Tesla, all of them will go up on average 10%. And the implication here is that most stocks will actually rebound, and sentiment tells you it will go up. This is true for the SPY, and same thing, same pattern for the QQQs. So when the breakdown happened, usually a breakdown happens when previously people thought that this was a support, right? The 300 mark. The 300 mark was thought as a support. When it broke down, then chaos, right? There will be chaos when 300 breaks down. And it did. There was chaos. So people didn't know what's the support. Is it 290, 280, 270, 260? Nobody knows. It could have fallen as low as 275. So that is where the bottomless pit is, right? So we didn't know until the failed breakdown. The failed breakdown is a pattern wherein everything is just a failure on the breakdown. It doesn't go down as a follow through. And so people now see, okay, if it's a failed breakdown, we can then go up. How high does it go up? At least to the pattern of the breakdown. That is the very first short-term target. Now, when you break that 300, all things can take place. Either a full-term reversal, a full, I don't know how high, but I can tell you that this is a high probability reversal in the short term. So this is one of the best trading patterns to actually be contrarian on the buy, especially after a long entrenched downtrend. This has been going down for about 6 weeks already. So people have always been waiting for that ultimate bounce, even if that bounce is just 2 to 3 days. Okay, so that is the SPY and QQQ. And we talked about perhaps the orchestra of this turtle soup. Because a turtle soup is very hard to protect, a very hard feat to achieve. It's very rare. To be honest, flush outs and turtle soups, it might be very common for Forex pairs. But for indices, for Bitcoin, for many, for all asset classes to break down en masse and all fail the breakdown, that is a rare feat. It only happens in um, short-term bottoming patterns. It happened in the pandemic, March 2020. It happened, I think, in well, most short-term lows really have that yeah, it's very difficult. The failed breakdown is once in a blue moon. To be honest, that pattern is very once in a blue moon. It doesn't normally happen, but when it does, very powerful. So last night we can see that since there was a powerful failed breakdown, a firm which reported earnings actually 65% overnight. From 13 to 24, it can even go as high. If you're asking me how high could a firm go, $30, because this was the failed breakdown at 30. And you can see as early as last night, amazing movements. What you can only see here is 30% up for Lilum, 25% Upstart, 24% for Roblox, Rivian was 20% up, EVgo was 20% up, Unity is 19% up. Most people will get scared on these types of rallies because they would say, oh, because it rallied 30, 40, 50% already intraday, I am already late. However, I would say that you are not late simply because we can see from patterns here that this has nothing to do with the percentage gains in the very short term. A turtle soup is managed by the number of days. So yeah, it's all about the number of days. So example, Shopify, the support was 300, it's now 355. I can theoretically see Shopify trade as high as 420. So let's talk about Shopify. I mean, let's talk about the favorite stocks of the people, the favorite of the traders. So how would you define Shopify in the chart of Shopify today, just from a purely technical stance? Okay, from purely technical stance, there was a support at 411 that got broken down. You have to understand where the supports before were and where the current supports are. So when it broke down that all important 586 and 500, we felt that all of those became a very strong resistance. So I'm not trying to paint a dream that Shopify can go as high as 586, but can it go to as high as 411 or 410? And the answer is yes, because that 410, which previously was the resistance, is the usual target on a failed breakdown, or when the entire market is actually a failed breakdown. So that's why what happened last night is 300 tried to go to 380. That was a 30% rally within a day. And even at 353, it could retest 380 and 400. Any dips is now becoming a buy. I will be more, for us to really appreciate the class, let's just go to the investing.com portfolio right now to see what exactly are the charts that we are taking a look at to buy right now, pre-markets, before the markets open out. So we talked about Bitcoin related names to actually extend their rallies last night. And let's take a look at that. So I don't like back. For crypto, I would still say that Coinbase is still a buy. MicroStrategy at 185, I saw. Yes, I would agree. Even if this one is 8%. So let's talk about the primary movers right now. So Hut Mining, Coinbase, Riot, MicroStrategy, Mara, Silvergate. Okay, let's talk about these usual crypto related names, since we are bullish that crypto can extend at the very least another one day or 2 days high. So here from about $2, if it just eclipses back to that 3-day high before, or five, usually they talk about the 5-day resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one, 350, just to go back to 350, that's an amazing 100% move. Look at these names tonight. Hut Mining, because we think that crypto is gonna go higher, then all of these breakdowns is false. So you can actually trade that false breakdown. So the previous breakdown of Hut Mining was 3.4. So 2.4 to 3.4 is still a manageable buy. We look at the recent Coinbase. Okay, so Coinbase can rally to, I believe, 80 to 100. So this one is where, okay, so 120. Although I saw the earnings were bad, so some people might be very afraid to actually nibble after a very bad report. But we argue that even from a trading stance, this has already gone down way off the point of margin of safety is already cheap. Like from now it's $10 billion. And in a usual good time, they do earn something like $1.5 billion in a quarter. So we think that this is a very advantageous buy. Let's take a look where Coinbase today is resting. Coinbase trading at 64. So how do you trade when it's gap up? Unfortunately, that is the norm on these types of patterns. They do gap up. They don't give you a chance. That's why people who see a turtle soup, they act ASAP. Like last night, they already acted ASAP. Perhaps they bought already because they fear that you can go 80 or 90, and then they'll sell that. They'll definitely sell somewhere here at 80 to 90. But since Coinbase has already gone up, look to find other names, no? So like Ano pa yung hindi masyadong up? Okay, so I think MicroStrategy, ito actually buy ako dyan. So Riot and Mara are up 10, 9% respectively. Silvergate, I think, can also rally to as high as $80, 85. The previous resistance here, 80. So as long as you can see where the breakdowns were, that is where the resistance will be. Okay, so let's stop with the crypto. Let's talk about the other names that are going up. Okay, Unity, let's talk about the names that got shaken down that we believe are deserving to go up. So these are, there's many patterns. Technicians are very creative with their names. I think, I'm not sure if they call this an abandoned baby, wherein you get a gap down, para kang inorphan. You get a gap down, sobrang everyone's so negative, plus the fact that Unity is trading at new lows. You'll notice that after the breakdown of 90, nobody knows how low it can go. Is it 60, 50, 40, 20? You know, everyone doesn't know. But when it broke that 88 pattern, I'm not saying that Unity can rally to 88. It can just rally back to the gap. So there's a saying that the 5-day MA is your first resistance. So if you just base it from textbook, then that means that 44 is your resistance for Unity. 35 to 44 is somewhere about 20%, which somehow is where most of the stocks might actually rally upon within the next 2 days. So Unity, let's just go through a lot of charts here. How about so video games in general? The strongest last night was Unity and Roblox, and it's currently up 2 and 3%. So there, I think that if it, ako personally, I don't like to buy gap ups of 10%. So I would prefer buying something like 2 to 3%. Let's talk about Roblox. Let's take a look at that. So Unity could be bought even at current level of 36. Same thing, actually Roblox managed to make already that outperformance because when earnings was released, it wasn't as bad. So people already started buying Roblox last, actually the day before pa lang, no? So 22, 23, rallied all the way to 28. So ito mas naging advanced return na to. So from 22 to 34. So yeah, that is an example why you have to be bullish, because we are seeing several reversal, at least in the very short term. No, it's called a short-term reversal pattern. So Unity and Roblox have been going up. For the video game sector, let's talk about clean energy names. Clean energy names got decimated super bad from the Sunrun to all the EVs, right? Okay, so let's take a look what exactly happened last night. I don't really support EVgo. These are one of those charging stations. But let's take a look at all these charging stations who really got decimated. ChargePoint was one. ChargePoint hit as low as 850. In all of these charts, you will find that they were discarded as trash. So yeah, no, look at that. From 20, recent high here, April 16, all the way to 9. And this is a typical pattern because it has gone new lows. I'm not saying that they are the best companies fundamentally. What I'm only saying is that from a trading standpoint, you make the most buck with the dogs or the trash. These are the trash, the dogs, the ones which had high short ratios. Okay, so ChargePoint looks to be also a candidate for your buying arena in case you want to get a buy today and then a sell 2 days after. I don't want to involve myself with companies too much that had a very bad earnings, but I do think that we are going to be contrarian as well on Palantir. Palantir and Unity have been abandoned babies. You could see that after the earnings report from 10, it dropped 30% or about 650. I would still be a buyer of Palantir actually. So I put it in our buy list. Palantir tonight, Unity also. The usual, actually. Let's talk a lot about the vilified names on the growth stocks. So where is Block right now? Just like all the crypto names, fintech has been oversold because of what happened with Coinbase, as if everything is part of the industry problem. This was the downtrend, the perfect downtrend, right? So after you break down, dire-diretso yan, 260 to 200, and then all hell goes loose. You don't know how low it goes. The first support that Square found was near the previous average before that pandemic drop. No, so here, notice this. This is what you call the aberration. This was all an aberration because there was a strong support somewhere here at about 65. Diba? So just by looking at the chart, Square tells me that this can rally to as high as 88. No, so that's all 20%. Square can rally 20%, Unity can rally 20%, let's talk about big caps. We talked about Tesla. We said Tesla looks to be in a very tricky range. The nice thing about Tesla is that it didn't do a failed breakdown. What Tesla did, a failed breakdown means that it would retest to 600 or 500, diba? Kasi there was a previous support here at 700 area. What happened last night was more of a confirmation. If you're not making a failed breakdown, what you're doing is a retest. A retest is, of course, a very stronger, a stronger pattern rather than a failed breakdown. So a retest is good because that means that Tesla can go up. How high can it go? From 700 can rally to about 840, the same thing, 20% reward. So all I'm looking at in this scenario is that, yes, there is a short-term rebound, but a rebound nonetheless. And I like all the setups happening right now in the market on the long side. We can choose a company that you like, and these are also increasing the sentiment for the shorts to cover. The Fed, the U.S. Treasury Yellen, which is very powerful voice, said that Fed can bring down inflation without causing recession. You've probably heard a lot of hedge fund managers complain about inflation and recession and have subsequently sold a portion of their shares due to this. When the Fed and SEC Chairman Gary Gensler is talking about the fact that the retail public would be having investor protections, they are assuring the public that we will not go to a depression through their language. Now, you might say that their language is not powerful, but for the Wall Street, the Fed and how they speak and the people behind them is enough for people to think twice on how aggressive the Fed will really be. Also, I think last night, Jerome Powell said that, or at least tweeted, I heard some tweets, that he still persists with just 50 basis points rate hike, not 75 basis points, not 100 basis points, that other fear mongers want to talk about. In terms of fear mongering, I keep on hearing this, the 75 basis points hike, the 100 basis point hike. I do have to tell you that in the Wall Street language, this is really made sometimes called the poop and scoop strategy. They purposely will give you all the bad news and depressing stuff just to really panic sell out of a otherwise not a really bad position. So that's why these things happen, right? Yeah, so Square, I think it's a buy. This is also an interesting thing. This was not a retest on Apple. Apple was one of the weakest fangs last night. This was intraday wherein Apple tried to retest $140. It tried to go down 139, then it eventually got up. When you see companies retesting supports and not breaking down, that is a very powerful chart. So this one, if you are a technician, you call that a doji. It's like a cross, right? It is a point of indecision. An indecision chart is telling you that it has gone down so big that this one can rally, especially if Apple opens tonight above 142. This goes as high as 151 or 155, diba? Which is 10%. So Apple can make 10%, Tesla can make 20%, you be the judge. So obviously a lot of people would rather buy a Tesla than Apple because of the larger reward. But it's also going to go up. So that means that your QQQs will also go up. How about C Limited? Let's take a look at this. With the current paranoia of the markets last night, you would have thought that, oh, everything must have been going down. Not true. When C Limited was falling down, look at those candles from 54 all the way to 62 and then stayed above, higher low. While Apple was breaking down, that means that C Limited could have gone 54 or 53. C Limited did not do that. And that is a sign to me that the bears are exhausted shorting growth stocks. So that's a good thing. C Limited could actually potentially rally to 67 or 75. Okay, so that's a huge rally. From 61 to 75, how much is that? $14, not 20%, 20 to 25%. That's can rally to about 840, diba? 20%. This is your TQQQ, which is Ultra Pro QQQs. A lot of people would ask me, if you think Apple can go as high as 10%, that means that the index can rally 10%, parang theoretic average. This is a 30% move because this is 3 times what Apple can do. Okay, so if the index really hits 10%, that means that this can go 30% up. So what is 30% of 28? Plus 6, it's going to be 34. So I'm not sure if it will go 34 or higher, but that should be how you target things, diba? At the very least. So Affirm, this is what I call a short covering move, diba? And then higher low. So this was also another proof that there is the bull side already happening last night after an extended breakdown. So another reason, another hat for the bulls, very good earnings for Affirm. So gap up siya 24. It reminds me of what happened to Snapchat. Do you know that Snapchat hit 100% just because of a super oversold movement hero? So does this remind you of what happened to, sayang nga kasi Unity tapos na yung earnings, so hindi siya break out ng ganyan. Snapchat, look at this, 24, then the next day it gapped up 34. That is a 50% gap up. That is what is happening today in Affirm. So si Affirm, it was sold down. Ito to si Affirm. It was sold down, but then it had very good earnings. So gap up to later 26 ata or 24 ang opening ni Affirm. It can rally to 30. Okay, Affirm can rally to 30. The chart of Affirm reminds me of what Snapchat did when it had a very good quarter. So yan, especially kapag very oversold, these things can happen. This was a momentous 100% move. Well, nearing 24 to 40. So kahit na binili mo yan sa gap up ng 35, you still made a 10%. So in case you are asking, can you still chase Affirm? From history, we say that, yeah, you can see it potentially go up, even if it's 25 or 26 ba open ng Affirm. Yeah, yun. So let's take a look at fintech, because right now I've seen that most of the fintech got huge killings. Patay Coinbase, patay yung mga fintech yan eh. So from a big conviction on an upside, I think that is where the big contrarian moves will be. High beta on the fintech. Nasaan yun? Fintech, I call it payments. The ones that dropped a lot. Okay, so Affirm is opening 23.5. If you ask me, you can buy Affirm. I'm not too confident with Upstart, although I can see that last night, obviously, nag-short covering na sa Upstart. That started na rin. Oops, sorry. So between Affirm and Upstart, dun na lang ako sa Affirm. Yeah, but ito, abandoned babies na yan, diba? So because of that huge gap down, I guess they will try to push it up. Yun. So Affirm, Upstart, si Coinbase is up, Square. So amongst these mga financials, I'd go for Square, I'd go for Affirm. I don't know much about the rest. I'm not confident. I don't think you'll make a lot of money sa mga big caps like ganyan. Like you'll make 10% on Apple, Visa, MasterCard on a short-term downtrend na counter. But yeah, make the most on the super small caps na lang for a few days. This is just a few days rally. Okay, what else? So Affirm is correct to go up. Okay, so this is also a pattern. One of the reasons why a lot of people would think that yesterday was also a short-term low was how all the stocks that had bad earnings behaved. Upstart went up, Beyond Meat went up, I think even Dutch Brothers went up. So, and it went up in a magnitude that was 30 to 40% in just an hour. If it was going up 30, 40% in 5 days, it wouldn't matter. But this was happening in 1 hour. So you can tell that this was an entire short covering movement, and perhaps 20 is already the support for Beyond Meat. But I wouldn't buy Beyond Meat, even if I see that as a short covering. Another sign of a short-term indicator that we have seen the lows is always getting halted. If you try to remember history, during the 1987 Great Depression, there was a gap down and then there was a halt. And then every time there was a halt, it will gap up and gap up. And so people were scared, oh, what's going to happen in the halt? Is there a news? So either they were afraid that there would be an interest rate hike or an interest rate cut or something. And I remember traders anecdotally telling me that there was an interest rate cut in the past during the year 2000 to 2001 bubble because of the huge crash in the market in the tech bubble. I believe that in order to revive the economy, in one, I think on a certain lunch hour, or I think this was termed by others as one of their most expensive lunches, everyone had shorts. And then, kwento lang to sa akin, but you can just find it out and Google it yourselves. There was a Fed rate cut na everyone got surprised, and so everything had to go up. So in a very bearish market, halts, mga trading halts, yung mga events, because people don't know what's gonna happen in the trading halt, because they are heavily short, they would obviously buy up, gap up yan. So that was happening on, let's talk about this, kasi we can tell that that a lot of hedge funds were short GME and AMC, di ba? So tingnan mo yung nangyari kagabi. People were so scared. I'm pretty sure that they shorted GME 190 all the way to 80. Napa-force cover to. This has nothing to do, guys, with them being bullish on GMC apes. They're not GMC apes. Pero matatakot ka kasi di mo alam kung ano yung mangyayari. Okay, so ito, 78 went to 100. Of course, it went down. But arguably, I think maraming magko-cover ng GME at 80. Hindi ako nag-short niyan. Unfortunately, hindi ako nag-short ng mga GMEs. But I can tell you, this is, hindi ako magpa-participate. I'll be honest, hindi rin magpa-participate. But I think that the GME halts and what happened last night was telling the shorts, mag-cover na kayo. And I would argue na kung magko-cover na sila, edi bibili na lang ng Tesla, my favorite, di ba? I'll buy Tesla, I'll buy C Limited, I'll buy Palantir, the usual, I'll buy Square. It might not be the biggest bang, no? The biggest bang to the buck, but okay na rin, okay? So yun, Unity is a buy in my view. Also, ito talaga, crypto I think will have the biggest move as well, at least in the short term, because a lot of OGs, original gangsters, if you don't know Crypto Lark, okay, it's fine. You don't know much about crypto. These are one of the original, crypto messiahs. You not necessarily messiah, sorry. They're just crypto enthusiasts that really wanted to educate people to adopt crypto as part of their buying conviction for the long haul. These are not traders. When people who have been long Bitcoin see that there's this paranoia happening in Luna, they don't see it as a problem because they've seen this over and over and over again. Lalo na kung mga 2013 crypto fans pa sila, di ba? When Bitcoin was trading something like $100 or less. Yung mga ganyan yung mga presyo ng mga OG na yan, sila Lark Davis. So I treat that as smart money. Hindi yan late in the game. Sobrang early yan. And they can see the fiction that people are playing out. They can see through the lies, basically. Na crypto is dead, crypto is zero, rat poison squared, throw all, all of those. We can be polarizing sometimes, but you have to be neutral. You have to understand that crypto is not going anywhere. That's true. Coinbase is not going anywhere. It's just going to stay there. People have had false reports that supposedly if you put your Bitcoin in Coinbase, na Brian Armstrong can just take it away, that your coins there are not yours, which I think Gary Gensler and Janet Yellen will not allow. So magwawelga lahat ng Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, all the clients of Coinbase will of course say no to that. And I don't think Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, is stupid enough to say that. I mean, baka hindi lang siya marunong to interpret how to. When people get so nervous, sometimes I think there's just a PR disconnect, like what happened with this. What happened with Disney? It's more of a PR thing. So I think what happened with Coinbase was something like that. And the recent drop is more of an opportunity to buy. And I can see that Bitcoin already rallied, Coinbase rallied. And so I think Coinbase can go up at 10 billion. And this is also an interesting part of the valuation history. Coinbase, actually, you are able to buy at $10 billion back in October 2018 when it was crypto. Do you know that in October 2018, that was one of the worst times of crypto? That's their crypto winter yan. Bitcoin was something like from 20,000 high, it fell to about $5,000. Ethereum went from $1,000, 1.2 to about $80, $90 during December, crypto winter. So to value Coinbase at $10 billion at the same price of crypto winter is telling you na okay na to, abyss na to, from a valuation perspective of the private equity. So I'd say na, of course, laughable naman talaga 100 billion ever since the IPO. But the 8 billion or the $10 billion or 12 billion, it's okay. Hindi siya expensive. Why do we say, if you are gonna believe in the crypto bulls, no? Well, they always talk about how many crypto users will begin. It's like stock market. How many stock investors are there in the world? So with crypto, they believe that there will potentially be 1 billion crypto users by 2025 or 2030, maybe 10 years from now. And they say that we are here, somewhere in the 80% average growth, similar to the tech space when we were getting internet users. So, syempre, the crypto fans, they will always use technology, how we have the mobile phone penetration, and then the internet acceptance for crypto adoption. So it took time, di ba? Like this was 1992 to 2006. That's why yung Nasdaq bubble, nangyari din yan, not because they were wrong for adopting technology very early. They were just very big bulls on technology, di ba? Kaya nga nagkakaroon ng bubble and then crash. So ganyan lang yon. Actually, you're able to buy Coinbase at a crash point. Okay na rin. I wouldn't say na hindi na siya bababa, but from the very short term, pwede to. Total global internet users from 1992 to 2006 is this white line. And you are here now. So that's why if they believe that there will be so many crypto users, all of these young kids will grow up 10 years from now to become Coinbase clients. So yun yung parang growth potential. And if you are just a brokerage firm lang naman, of course you can earn money. So look at the financials. During last year, June 2021, medyo malakas pa yung crypto noon. Crypto was going 30,000 to 50,000, 60,000. Lakas ng revenue from a year-on-year perspective, 10x, 200 from 200 million to 2.2 billion dollars. Net income 1.6 billion. Net profit margin 72% from a brokerage firm basis. And then after 6 months, December 2021, they were able to sustain it na kahit na Bitcoin fell na from 69,000, Bitcoin fell to about, I think, $40,000 then, 45, $2.5 billion pa rin, malakas pa rin. So, and they earned 840 million net income for that. So, ang taas ng mga cash nila. But then, after 3 months, no March, kaboom! From 2.5, naging 1 billion. Nobody was already trading crypto. And then they were starting to lose money from an operational perspective. And so people were so afraid na, wow, na-reverse from 2 billion income to about 200 million income. What I can tell you is that Coinbase indeed is a casino. It's a brokerage firm wherein it sells people dreams. Dreams to make 10x your money or dreams to lose all of your money. It's a casino, diba? So, and a casino is profitable in the sense na there will be high times and low times and so forth. So yeah, I do believe that from a crypto exchange fundamental perspective, I am gonna be a buyer of actually kung gusto mo talaga to buy 64, as long as you have ability to buy a little lang, no? Kasi gap up yan eh, mahirap bumili ng gap up. 64 if you buy, as long as you can withstand the volatility, kasi ang support stop loss mo would be somewhere here at 50 siguro eh. Yung ito, yung mga 49 or 50. Kasi kung 64 bumaba ng 60 or 58, chance to buy yun. Or what you want to do is hope ka na lang na magkaroon ng entry ka dito sa 59 or 60 so that mas maganda yung risk reward mo. And then for the people who were matapang last night to have bought at 50 or 55, hold on to your shares. Let's see whether you can really make $75 or $90 for Coinbase. Tingnan natin, diba? Because there was private equity involved naman to really buy a support here at about $50 for Coinbase. And I think that it won't fall na below 50 eh. So maraming buyers na talaga dyan. So that ends my short-term analysis of the market. I'm bullish, and I think that you would rally, and there are opportunities. Take advantage lang. So Affirm, we think it's gonna go up. Coinbase still up. Square still up. Hindi ko na tinignan yung iba eh. Yeah, I didn't check others because I don't look at every company na rin eh. Because I don't think it's hindi naman natin kaya i-save all the companies, so we might as well just look at a few. From an electric standpoint, lahat na electric standpoint, aakyat din yan eh. I just don't know which ones you wish to get. Extended hours right now, we're seeing, actually I don't want to buy Clean Spark, short covering lang yan. Wow, Tesla pala 6% up na, di good. Sunrun, actually itong Sunrun na to, I always take a look at it, I always trade it, but Sunrun has a lot of resistance at 23, 24. Ito, daming resistance na to. Dami ditong resistance. Yan yung resistance. Baka nga dito sa 20 maging resistance. So yun, you just have to be aware of the resistances when you're trading. Have a good day and see you again later on Discord Voice. Bye-bye. Thanks.